Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Hanif bin Razan. I am a final year student of CS230 and I will be doing my final year project presentation. And without further ado, let's dive right in. Alright, first thing first, let's start with the topic of this FYP. So the topic that was finally crafted by me and with the guidance of my supervisor is that speech recognition and requirements classification in user requirements engineering via natural language processing techniques. It's quite a mouthful, but you will understand that why. Okay, let's carry on. Here you can see the contents, which is pretty much self-explanatory. So as you can see here, this is the timeline of the project development. Most of the proposal phase was done during the first semester of the final year project. So during semester 5, the proposal was done in March, and during April, May, June, and August is the time where the literature review was done and methodologies was proposed. And finally, during August, this is the time where the presentation to the examiner was done. And I stick to the same topic, which is a good thing. So during January of 2021, this is the time where I tidy up the development of the system and I commence the testing as a whole. So during probably this February, the project presentation will be done as well. So as for introduction, let's start with the gist of my project, which is software engineering. So as for what software engineering is, it is defined as a process of analyzing user requirements and then designing, building, and testing software application which will satisfy those requirements. So in other words, software engineering is used as a way to understand the notion of software preparation and its notion of build up before you actually develop the system. So when you open up software engineering doors, there are a few more keys that you need to find, and one key that was used is to find and open the door of requirement engineering. So as for requirement engineering, it is the process of defining and documenting and also maintaining the requirements. This is the main topic, or also the big problem solving things that I have to do for my project. So carry on, we have requirement elicitation. This is another subtopic of requirement engineering, where requirement elicitation is defined as the various ways used to gain knowledge about the project domain and requirements. Some of the examples are brainstorming, observation, and interviews. And after that, we have requirement classification, which is also the big part in my project. So for this project, the proposed classification is between functional and non-functional requirements. So after that, more on technical part, we have speech recognition. The system proposed an automated speech to type capabilities to aid the requirements elicitation. And after that, we have system proposal. This is in confirmation with the proposal of CSP 600, my apologies. And it is planned to develop an automated classification system of requirement text with the aid of software technologies. So carry on for the problem statement. We have the first problem statement revolves around the elicitation of requirements. Like I explained just now, what elicitation means is that it is when you are eliciting requirements between, it doesn't have to be between two people, it can be when you are observing or just doing brainstorm. So the problem lies when there is difficulties in eliciting requirements, especially when dealing with unknown terms or having a conversation with people with different level of understanding. And other than that, we have the second problem statement is classification of requirements, where the explanation is where it is hard to exactly classify what the requirement really implied, especially if it's written in general terms. It means that not all people are able to have the knowledge to classify between, where in our project, between functional and non-functional requirement. So this is the continuation of the introduction. We have the objective. The objective of the system is to design a system that incorporates NLP or natural language processing tool for voice to text conversion and text classification. And the second is to evaluate the accuracy of the model developed that will classify between functional and non-functional requirement, and the last one is to evaluate the functionality of the developed software, which is in confirmation with all type of software development. They will always undergo functionality testing. So for the scope of this project, it is developed as me as a UITM students in Malaysia, and English was used as the main language. And other than that, multiple programming language as integration was used. The significance of this project is so that it is so to support the user's requirement elicitation and classification process. Other than that, it benefits those who are in the software development domain, and creation of software will be facilitated significantly. For the literature review, we have 4 big parts, which is classification tools, classification algorithm, speech recognition, and software development lifecycle. For a few months, a few research and review has been done based on some research papers, and I've come up with a conclusion that there should be 4 topics that need to be mentioned about. And the first one is classification tools. So the first one is about comparing which tools that could possibly be used for the software development. So the first one is NLTK, Natural Language Toolkit. We have Spacy and Monkey So in the end, after some analysis, I use Monkey as a tool to develop the classification model. And then we have the algorithm. So there were 2 papers discussed about deep learning, and other than that, the other one discussed about support vector machine. So in conformance with Monkey I use support vector machine, or SVM, as the algorithm, since it is in line and parallel with the API of the Monkey So next we have the speech recognition. This is the framework that is usually used when web application want to implement speech recognition or speech to text abilities on the web pages. So the implementation of speech recognition toolkit is used and also proposed during the literature review. And I also did some comparative analysis, and finally I choose the JavaScript toolkit for speech recognition. And the last one is software development lifecycle. We have the comparative analysis on a few models. I use the waterfall model since it is direct, and it is the one that was usually used for a simple system. So carry on. We have for the software design, we have 6 phases. We have the requirement analysis, design, development, testing, deployment phase, and maintenance. For the requirement analysis, what do we call here? I think this is called the use case diagram right here, and the use case diagram is used to so the use case diagram was used to see the connection between the system and the user. So other than that, we have the design phases, where as we can see there's a flowchart here. I mean, you cannot see the flowchart here, this is the presentation, but you can see the flowchart in the report. So the flowchart was used as a mean to see the flow of the system as a whole. And for the development, the system development, where implementation of framework and technology commands, is where the system are finally starting in the development, and everything that was tabulated and everything that was used during development was tabulated in the system. As for the testing, well, like I said just now, the testing is used to check the functionality and the accuracy of the system. And finally, the deployment phase, where the system is deployed to be used and tested accordingly during presentation. And for other stuff, there's no maintenance, since this is not a commercial product, so there's no need for that. And there is also no need for debugging. As for the development process, there are 4 parts as well. The first one is server and controller build-up. The second one is for the algorithm. The third one is speech recognition, and the final one is an interface. For the server was developed as a backbone for the system, so that all the tools could be compiled and work in a systematic manner. The second one is for the algorithm. The algorithm is used to implement into the system for the process of classification, and the third one is speech recognition. The speech recognition was used as a tool for the transcribing of speech to text, and the final one is the interface, where the interface is developed using HTML and CSS. So for the software testing, we have two types of testing, which is functionality testing and accuracy testing. The functionality testing is used with test cases and evaluate the software system against the functional requirement or the specification. The accuracy testing, for the accuracy testing, the testing that I use is mathematical artificial intelligence method, which is called confusion metric, since we could say that the classifier and the SVM is also based on mathematical stuff. As for the conclusion and recommendation, before that, let's go to the system demonstration first. Okay, we're back again for the software demonstration. So for the first thing that I would do is that I would actually try the speech to text tools first, and we will carry on with the classification of the requirements. So the first thing, as you can see here, I can click on the start recognition button, and the browser would actually want the permission to use the microphone. So click allow here, and after this I'm gonna speak one of the functional requirement, and we can check whether it is true the classifier can classify the requirement text or not. System must allow the users to have two different accounts. Okay, as you can see here, we have the speech to text conversion done successfully, and the conversion is also 100% correct. So after this, we can see we are gonna go with the classify requirements. If you do not know what the pause recognition does, is that it pauses the speech to text transcribing process, so that when I was talking here, it do not automatically transcribe, right? So as for the classify requirements, we can see after this. Okay, as you can see here, we have the tag name functional, so it means that the classification process is successful, and the confidence is around 0.98, which is very accurate. So we will carry on with the non-functional requirements. System should be easy to use. Okay, so we can see here, this is for the non-functional testing. The requirement text is system should be easy to use, so let's classify these requirements. Okay, as we can see here, this the tag name is called non-functional, so it is actually correct also, and the confidence is around, which is around 1.0, which is 100% accurate. So thank you. So yeah, thank you for watching the software demonstration, and back to conclusion. Okay, we're back. So for every beginning, there will always be an end, and the same thing applies to this project. So as for the conclusion and recommendation, I can say that the system developed were able to meet the objective of the proposal. Why? Because all the progression were in par with the methodology proposed, and the system is actually able to meet the requirements of the objective. And lastly, the development process goes through accurately, and the classification process is acceptable for use. So as for the limitation, I can definitely say that the system is lacking a more data set from niche topic, and other than that, there are some difficulties in managing output, where it could be troublesome to read for non-technical people. And as for the strength, I can say that the system is very easy and straightforward to use. It is uncomplicated. It has an uncomplicated application interface, and the classifier has a good accuracy, and speech to text function is very handy at times. As for the future recommendation, the implementation of software requirement specification could be done as for the upgrade for this project. And also we could implement some authentication and database system, and improvement in also the accuracy of the classifier. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate that. Thank you for everyone who has been helping me since day one, especially my SV and also my CSP 650 lecturer. So the system was developed by me, and if you want to contact me, you can see here at my email hanifdorazon@gmail.com. Thank you very much and have a nice day.